boost your English.
From English Podcast with John.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Podcast with John. Thanks for joining us today. We're talking about building good habits in English and staying motivated every day. Our goal is to make English practice simple, relaxed, and enjoyable. I have to say, that opening phrase is really what it's all about today, making it simple, relaxed, and enjoyable. It feels like this topic of motivation. It's just the core of everything. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. And you're so right. We get asked about this all the time.
All the time.
People always want to know about grammar or vocabulary, but the real question underneath is always, how do I just keep going?
Exactly. How do I show up when I don't feel like it?
Yeah, and it's something almost every single listener struggles with at some point, so I'm really glad we're tackling this today.
Me too. I feel like habits are the secret sauce. It's not about talent. It's about routine.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
the difference between success and failure, honestly.
Absolutely. So before we really get into it, I just want to say a quick word to everyone listening. If you enjoy these kinds of friendly conversations, please think about subscribing or liking or even sharing the show. It really helps us out.
It does. It lets us know what topics are useful and helps other learners find us.
Thank you so much to everyone for all the support. It really means a lot.
It truly does.
Okay, so good habits, the foundation. The first thing that really jumped out at me from our research is this idea that habits have to feel simple. I think so many people, myself included, have this idea that to learn something, you need to do like 2 hours of intense study every day.
What? That's the classic trap.
It is, and it's just a recipe for failure, isn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like a chore from day one. It just causes this immediate burnout.
It does. People confuse studying hard with studying smart.
Mm.
And hard often just means long and painful, which isn't sustainable.
Right.
I actually have a story about this, but with jogging. A few years ago, I decided I was going to become a runner.
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
You probably do. My goal on day one was to run 5 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I made it about 1 kilometer, felt awful, and then I didn't try again for 6 months. The goal was just way too ambitious.
That's so relatable. So with that in mind, what do you think is the smallest, like the absolute most non-negotiable daily habit a learner could maintain without any effort?
I think it comes down to what some people call the 5-minute rule.
Right.
Or, you can even go smaller than that. I heard of the 1 new sentence rule.
Just one sentence a day.
Just one. The point isn't about the volume of learning at the start. It's about maintaining the routine. It's about winning the day, no matter how small the win is.
I love that. I actually have a similar rule for myself when it comes to reading.
Oh, yeah. How does that work?
Well, if there's a really difficult book I want to get through, something dense, I tell myself I only have to read the first 2 paragraphs.
That's the only goal.
That is the only commitment. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I look up and 20 minutes have passed. But the win was just opening the book and reading those first lines.
That is the perfect example. The victory isn't starting. The rest is just a bonus. You're just making the act of starting ridiculously easy.
So let me ask you a follow-up on that, a practical question. Should that tiny habit be something passive, like listening, or active, like speaking? Where's the best place to start?
That's a great question. My personal opinion is that for a brand new habit, passive is easier
Okay, that makes sense.
because it has lower friction. For example, integrating listening into a routine you already have is, I think, the best starting point.
Like on your commute or something.
Exactly. While you're commuting or cooking or washing dishes, you just press play. There's no performance pressure. You're just building that momentum, making English a natural part of your environment.
That low-pressure approach is so key. I have a friend who did something brilliant with this. She wanted to listen to more English news. So she made a rule. She would only listen to the English news headlines while she was waiting for her kettle to boil in the morning.
That is perfect. That's habit stacking.
It is. And she said it became so automatic, kettle on, podcast on. There was no discipline involved because the two things were just linked. She didn't even have to think about it.
And that's the goal, to take it out of the part of your brain that requires willpower and make it automatic, like brushing your teeth.
So we've talked about starting small, but what about, the motivation roller coaster?
Ah, yes, the inevitable dip.
Right. Even with a simple habit, there are days when you're busy or tired or you just don't want to. How do you handle those moments when you accidentally miss a day? I feel like the self-criticism can be so damaging.
It's probably the single biggest reason why people quit. They miss one day and they feel like they failed completely.
An all or nothing mindset.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the most powerful tool against that is what some people call the never miss two rule.
Okay, tell me more about that.
The rule is simple. You can miss one day. Life happens. But you are not allowed to miss 2 days in a row, no matter what.
So you have to bounce back immediately.
Immediately. And the comeback action can be ridiculously small. This is where self-forgiveness is so important.
I have a funny story about that. I was trying to start a new physical activity habit, and of course I skipped a day pretty early on.
As one does.
As one does, and I
Uh-huh.
felt so bad about it. But I remembered that rule. So the next day, to get back on track, I literally did one push-up.
Just one.
Just one. It was absurd. But you know what? Mentally, it worked. I had reestablished the momentum. I didn't miss 2 days. The mental streak was alive.
That is a fantastic story because it perfectly illustrates the point. The goal on that recovery day isn't progress, it's momentum. It's about protecting your identity as a person who does this.
Yes, identity over output.
You've got it. Because motivation is a magical resource you wait for. Motivation is the result of action. That one push-up generated the motivation for the next day.
That makes so much sense. So if we're focused on momentum and not perfection, how can someone track their progress in a way that feels fun and positive instead of, making them feel bad about what they didn't do?
I think the key is to make it visual and focus on the effort, not the outcome. Forget about test scores or grammar mistakes for a moment.
So like a chart on the wall.
Exactly. Something super low-tech and satisfying,
Yeah.
like putting a colorful sticker on a calendar for every day you complete your habit.
Oh, I like that. It's like getting a gold star in school.
It is. Or you can do what's sometimes called the chain method. You just draw a big X over each day on a calendar. After a few days, you start to form a chain.
And your only job is not to break the chain.
Your only job is not to break the chain. The psychological joy you get from seeing that chain grow becomes its own motivation. Your focus shifts to protecting your record of consistency.
I've actually done that before with a personal goal. I used a physical calendar and a big bright red pen.
Did it work for you?
It was incredibly satisfying. Marking off the day felt like a real accomplishment. And it's true, once the chain got to like 20 days, the thought of breaking it was painful. I got really competitive with my own calendar.
Right. And what happens if the streak breaks? That's the critical moment.
You just have to start a new one.
You start a new one immediately. The biggest mistake is thinking, well, I broke it, so I guess I'm done. That one slip up doesn't erase the 20 days of effort you already put in.
That's such an important reframe. So that's all about internal accountability. But what about external accountability, like studying with a partner or joining a group? Do you think that's helpful, or does it just add too much pressure, especially for beginners?
That's a really good question. I think for early learners, it often adds too much pressure.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
Well, think about it. If you're just trying to build the basic habit of showing up for 5 minutes, the fear of failing in front of someone else can actually stop you from even trying. It doubles the friction.
So you need a safe space to build the habit first?
Precisely. You build the internal routine first, where the stakes are low. Then, once the habit is solid, external accountability can be a fantastic tool to sharpen your skills and get feedback. But not at the very beginning.
Build the muscle first, then hire the trainer.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, this brings us to the third big theme, which is making this whole thing enjoyable.
The sustainability factor.
Right. Because you can have the best system in the world, but if you're studying something you find boring, eventually you're going to quit. English has to connect to things you already love.
This is where it all comes together.
Yeah.
When your motivation shifts from extrinsic, like passing a test, to intrinsic, the pure joy of the activity, the need for discipline almost disappears.
So can you give a really specific example of how you've seen someone merge English practice with a hobby they were already passionate about?
I can. I knew someone who was incredibly passionate about a very niche topic, vintage video games.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the problem was all the best forums, all the tutorials, all the deep discussions about these old games were in English.
So he had a real reason to learn.
He had a powerful daily reason. He wasn't thinking, I need to practice my reading comprehension. He was thinking, I desperately need to understand this paragraph to fix this game. The language was just a tool to get to his passion.
And the motivation was just built in. It was limitless because his interest was so high.
It was boundless. The desire for the specialized knowledge made the language barrier feel like a fun challenge instead of a chore.
That's so insightful. Passion really is the ultimate driver. But, that brings up a question for me. Sometimes high-interest topics like vintage video games or astrophysics or something come with really technical vocabulary.
That's true.
So how can someone who's maybe an intermediate learner get started with a niche, complex field without feeling completely overwhelmed by the jargon?
That's the bridging content problem. You can't just jump into an academic paper.
Right. So what's the bridge?
The strategy is to find content about that topic that was created for a general audience first.
So like a documentary instead of a textbook.
Exactly. Or beginner YouTube channels hosted by enthusiasts, or interviews with experts rather than their research papers.
Ah, so you're looking for someone whose job it is to make the complex topics simple and exciting.
You are. Those creators are experts at simplifying. They make the technical vocabulary digestible because they always present it in a very clear context, usually with lots of visuals. You learn the core concepts in a low-pressure way first.
And once you have that foundation, then you can move on to the more technical stuff.
Then you can start reading the forums or the specialized articles because you already have the basic framework in your head.
That's a really great, actionable strategy. It keeps the passion high but manages the difficulty. This all really ties together so nicely. The main takeaway for me is keep it simple, forgive yourself when you slip up, and most importantly, make it fun by linking it to something you already love.
That's the trifecta right there.
I know for me, my conversational fluency really took off when I stopped trying to study and just started watching behind-the-scenes videos and interviews with my favorite actors and musicians.
It didn't feel like work.
It felt like entertainment. The learning was just a side effect. So, as we start to wrap up, what's one final, simple, motivational message you want to leave with everyone listening today?
I think the most important thing to remember is that just by listening to this, just by thinking about how to improve, you're already showing commitment.
That's a great point.
So stop thinking about the huge long-term finish line. Don't worry about being fluent by next year. Your only job, your only focus should be on winning today's small goal.
Just the next 5 minutes.
Just win the next 5 minutes. If you can do that every day, those small wins will stack up into a huge achievement before you even realize it.
That's a perfect thought to end on. Focus on the small win right in front of you.
It's all that really matters for building the habit.
That was a really, really helpful conversation. I feel like it makes the whole process seem so much more manageable.
My pleasure. It's all about finding that simple, sustainable path forward.
Before we sign off, we did want to share just a couple of quick, casual tips, just little things you can do.
Yeah, little ways to keep that friction low, like we talked about.
So one thing I often suggest is to create an English-only space in your house. It could be a specific chair or a corner of your room.
An English consumption anchor. I like that.
Exactly. And when you're in that spot, you only listen to or read English. Your brain starts to associate that physical space with English mode, and it becomes an automatic switch.
That's a really powerful psychological cue. My quick tip is about vocabulary. Don't try to learn 10 new words a day. It's too much pressure. Instead, just try to save 3 new words you hear each week in a notes app on your phone. That's it. Just 3. And your only goal is to try to use them in a sentence, even just in your own head, sometime that week.
I love that. Super low pressure, very focused. That's great advice. Well, that just about wraps up our discussion on building good habits and staying motivated.
We definitely covered a lot of ground, connecting the psychology to the practice.
We'd love to encourage all of you listening to comment or share your own habit struggles or successes. What's your 5-minute habit right now?
Yeah, what are you stacking it with? We'd genuinely love to hear how you're putting these ideas into practice.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
And remember, consistency is the key. Keep up that daily practice, even if it's just for a few minutes.
We will be back soon with more conversations to help you on your English journey.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found this useful. It really does help.
Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Talk to you next time.
Bye for now.